This horse got stuck in the fence wire, and it's hard to say how long it would have stayed there if humans didn't come to its rescue. Fortunately, it wasn't injured, and after a while, it was able to run again. The dog fell under the ice. It was a matter of minutes before the animal couldn't be rescued due to cold water. With great difficulty, the men managed to get the dog, and it quickly understood what to do. People noticed a deer standing on the side of the road begging for help. Its face was crushed with ice to the point the animal couldn't even open its eyes. When people approached the deer, it didn't even try to run, and that was a good call. Now the deer is safe and sound. A moose got stuck on a railway and people organized an entire rescue mission. In the end, the animal was saved and delivered back to the woods. But it doesn't look like it's in a rush, almost like it's trying to say thank you. And here's what a removal of the rhinoceros horn looks like to deter poachers who kill these animals for their horns. They are made of keratin, just like human nails, which means they keep growing back. As for the noise, the animal is wearing headphones, so it's not too scary. Can someone explain to me how this cow's head got stuck in the tree? It was definitely very lucky that there was a person nearby. A bear got stuck on a power pole and survived by some miracle, thanks to the fact the help arrived just in time.
All right, little bear, time to get off this pole.
And this elk came to people with the head of its opponent stuck to its antlers. Unfortunately, the operator was powerless.
If the bucket had filled with water.
And this fearless man jumped into the icy waters to rescue a deer with a bucket on its head. A little while later, his friend came with a boat and they started to act. And finally...
Now you can see.
It was great seeing her run off.
In Samsun, a seagull got caught on a fishing hook attached to the electric cables. Within 7 hours, the bird was rescued. But even after its liberation, it kept going back, pecking its saviors. That's the condition the puppy was in when people found it. But wait till you see what it looks like today. Beautiful antlers can turn into a big problem, just as it happened to this deer. Thankfully, people didn't leave it in trouble. A cat nearly became a victim of a python, but the fearless locals saved it, and they were really risking their lives. These fishermen noticed that a baby whale tangled in a net approached their boat. They freed the poor animal and pulled the netting out of the water. If only we had more people acting like that. This poor elk got so stuck in a snowed-in swamp, it couldn't move at all. When it was freed, it immediately ran to its friend, who waited patiently the whole time. What could this look mean?
Будет жить нормально все. Давайте, ребята.
This sloth must have confused some cables for tree branches and was in real danger as a result. Risking his own life, this man tried to help the sloth, and it's obediently doing everything required. And these guys are not just railway workers, they are real heroes. They jumped off a moving train to rescue a chamois that was buried under the snow by a different passing train. And here's how they rescued a baby elephant in Zimbabwe after it got stuck in the mud after a long drought. A dog found itself in a water trap and would have drowned if it weren't for the rescue crew. Look at how obedient it is, knowing they are trying to help it. This little guy is still so young, but with a big heart. This tiny puppy had a very slim chance of survival when it was hit by a train. Thankfully, its cries were heard by people who saved its life. This person got a baby monkey out from underneath the ruins and returned it to its mom. Just look at her reaction. This kangaroo fell into a canal during high tide. And take a look at how desperately the animal is begging humans for help. Now that the kangaroo is all right, it can run away, but its gaze speaks volumes. On his 21st birthday, the snowboarder decided to take a ride on fresh snow. His plans changed when he came across a horse stuck in the snow. What a day! Took a snowboard ride and rescued a horse that was reunited with its owners 4 days later. This guy heard a desperate cry from a ditch and realized that there's a living being in the bag. Turns out someone was very cruel to a grown cat. Thankfully, this story has a happy ending. And here everyone deserves praise. The person rescuing the cat and the cat who understood the assignment. This porcupine swam towards people so that they could help it get on dry land. This guy saved a drowning sparrow, but he didn't expect the bird to get so attached to its savior that it would sit on his head. This horse was stuck in the fast river and couldn't move. Rescuers had to use a helicopter to carefully transport the horse to safety. In India, a baby leopard got into a huge well. It was rescued using a large net. Once it was back on dry land, the wet kitten ran away to its mom.
Look at him.
A tiny baby possum got stuck in the stream and was rescued by 3 people who then decided to have it as their pet. A diver caught a fish, but a hungry shark stole it for itself. Unfortunately, it bit off more than it could chew. And as a result, the diver had to help the shark. What other option did she have? Of course, dolphins can survive for a little while without water, but they need help to avoid dying if they are beached. And so, many thanks to this person. And this monkey realized that humans are its only chance. And it was right.
Segura. Dá licença, Marcelo. Calma, calma, vai.
Que animal. Mouth open and saying,
It's not gonna
Want
close.
me to?
A pelican voluntarily came up to people walking on the beach. Turns out it has a triple hook stuck in its beak. Thankfully, they managed to extract it. When people build roads, they never think of the animals. And here are the consequences. This baby moose was entirely covered in asphalt. A rescue team came to its aid to clear off the moose cat that fell into a canal and couldn't get out. He decided to save the poor animal. Cats are well known to be fond of cardboard boxes, and this time, a box saved this cat's life. This puppy lost consciousness during a fire, and this firefighter brought it back to life with CPR.
perra campeona. Dios mío, ¿qué? Eso.
And here's another example of an animal trusting a human when it needs help. Isn't it adorable? These people untangled the turtle from the fishing line and released it back into the water. If only it could talk, it would definitely say thank you. This man noticed a drowning baby fox and immediately jumped into the water without even taking his clothes off.
Oh, he's got me.
This guy found a seagull tangled in the fishing line and decided to save it despite the bird's attempts to fend him off. A couple of swift movements and the bird is safe.
Be a lot easier if I had two hands, mate. Just make sure that's all the fishing line and he's free to go.
Garbage often brings harm to wild animals. This duck got stuck in a plastic ring and lost the ability to feed. A woman noticed the poor bird and cut the ring off. Military action hurts animals just as much as it does people. Look at these cats, rescued and fed by this bearded dude that came to Irpin. A girl took care of this sparrow from the day it hatched. A bird with a deformed beak would struggle to grow up in the wild. Thankfully, this sparrow is safe now. A whale was beached on one of the shores in Brazil. The animal spent almost 20 hours on dry land while people worked hard to get it back into the water. Not every person will be brave enough to rescue animals from the war zone, getting them out of their enclosures that are under fire. Thanks to courageous people like this guy, kangaroos are safe. This guy found a butterfly lost in a pipe and used his tape measure to rescue the insect. Original, but effective. The side of the road, waiting for someone to stop and give it water. And here's what a true hero looks like. Watch this man risk his own life to get an eagle out of a swamp. Thanks to these people, the baby bird thinks it's being fed by its mom. That's why it's not afraid. People heard cries for help coming from a ditch, only to find a dying puppy with head trauma. The puppy was so weak that its nose kept dropping into water. Thankfully, it was treated, and now the pup is perfectly fine. And this fox cub was loudly crying after getting stuck in some netting. At first, it was very frightened, but then realized that people were there to rescue it. Just take a look at such trust between an animal and a human. Do you think this guy is in search of crude oil? Nope, just rescuing a goat. And here's an incredible rescue of a deer that walked onto the ice and had frostbite on its feet, preventing the animal from getting back to safety. Finally, the saviors managed to free the deer, now faced with the difficult task of warming the animal back up. But the most incredible thing about it is how the deer is not at all afraid of the human. Instead, it is grateful.
Тогда завтра пойдем к доктору. Ветеринар, укольчики ставить, да?
To pull a cow out of a well, people had to use a huge tractor, and they succeeded too. And this dolphin swam right up to the divers in the hopes of being freed from a fishing line. Now it's free, but check this out. It's not in any rush to swim away, thanking its savior instead. When a drowning squirrel was rescued from a swimming pool, the situation appeared hopeless. Thankfully, the rescuer knew how to perform first aid on squirrels. It's very difficult to capture a frightened deer, all the while holding on with one hand to stop you from falling. But in the end, this guy succeeded.
Ух ты, красавчик! Нихера вы красавцы!
Just listen to the heartbreaking cries of this scared, injured, and cold puppy. But when it realized that people won't harm it, the puppy settled down and calmly went to a clinic with them.
Aren't you glad?